Here is a brief overview of VirtualDoseIR, an accurate and easy-to-use tool for estimating patient organ dose from interventional radiology procedures. After a successful login, the main web-based interface will be displayed. There are several input parameters entered from the main interface. Note that if you place the mouse over a parameter, a pop-up will appear explaining what the parameter means. Some options depend on previous selections, and a warning will be generated if selections are not made in the correct order. The user must first select a virtual patient from the Patient Phantoms drop-down list. VirtualDose has 23 virtual patients in total, including 50th percentile adults, pediatric patients of both female and male at different ages, pregnant females at 3 gestational stages, and a set of obese male and female patients. The Phantom can be selected directly from the Patient Phantoms drop-down list or by entering patient biometric information. Clicking on the magnifying glass will reveal inputs for patient sex, age, height, and weight. The patient is assumed to be lying on a 2.15 mm aluminum equivalent thickness operating bed. The next step is to choose the direction of the X-ray beam for the selected virtual patient. The user can select a standard direction from the drop-down list or adjust manually using the sliders for the rotational angle and tilt angle. As the projection is updated, a representation will be displayed on the virtual patient in red on the front, side, and top projections. VirtualDose provides 10 predefined standard directions as shown on the list, including posterior-anterior, anterior-posterior, left and right lateral, and others. When the beam direction is chosen, the field location and size can be selected. The position can be specified using the Scan Protocol dropdown, which centers the field on one of the given target locations on the Phantom, or by manually adjusting the field on the patient image. The position can be adjusted by clicking and dragging, or the size can be adjusted by grabbing the handles at the edges of the field. The size can also be adjusted using the Field of View entry box, which indicates the longitudinal and crossbody size of the field. These values update automatically when dragging the handles on the image. When entries are updated, the size of the field on the patient image will also update accordingly, with the center position remaining fixed. Note that the dimensions represent the size of the field at the imager. Tube voltage and copper filter thickness are entered in the entry boxes on the screen. The acceptable ranges are 55 to 120 kVp and 0 to 0.3 mm copper. Entries outside these ranges will be set to the maximum or minimum. Users should note that in addition to the copper filtration, there is an inherent 3.5 mm aluminum filter applied to all X-ray tubes that is not selectable by the user. 3 reference distances are specified with default values: the source-to-imager distance, the reference point distance, and the source-to-skin distance. The default reference point distance is 15 centimeters from the isocenter in the direction of the source, and the default source-to-skin distance is determined from the selected patient and beam direction. Note that both values are reset to defaults when the source-to-imager distance is changed. There are 3 dose output measurement methods available in the drop-down list: the dose area product cumulative method, the total cumulative air kerma at the reference point, and the air kerma rate at the reference point. If the dose area product method is selected, a text box will appear to input the DAP in units of milligray per square centimeter. Be careful, as fluoroscopic machines may display the output in other units. If the cumulative air kerma method is selected, a text box for entry of total air kerma at the reference point in milligray will appear. For the air kerma rate method, 2 boxes will appear: one for the air kerma rate at the reference point in milligray per second, and one for the total time in seconds. 2 sets of tissue weighting factors, ICRP 103 and ICRP 60, are available. Based on the selection, the appropriate methodology for calculating and displaying the remainder dose and effective dose will be used. When all parameters are set, users can click the Calculate Dose button, and results will be immediately plotted and tabulated below the Phantom images. Optionally, users can click the Create PDF Report button to download a dose report in PDF format, including the exposure parameters, a schematic of the patient Phantom with the exposure field, and a listing of organ dose results. Selecting the checkbox in the upper right corner of the data entry panel, marked Multi-Exposure, opens a list box where multiple individual exposure events can be saved so that the patient dose summed across all events can be calculated at once. Clicking the Add button will create a line that holds all of the exposure parameters. Each time the button is selected, a new line will be generated, Once one or more lines appear, clicking on a line will return the exposure parameters to the values stored in that line. If the parameters are modified, clicking Save will update the stored values. Clicking Remove will delete that line from the calculation. When the desired lines are saved in the multi-exposure box, clicking Calculate Dose or Create PDF Report will provide results for the aggregate of all exposure events.